Good morning, Rebels. Dr. Tyler Schwans. I wanted to talk to you today about pounding the stone. I just recently read a book that was suggested to me by a mentor of mine. It's by Joshua Medcalf, and it's called Pound the Stone. And in it, the author talks about stone cutters and how stone cutters, they will set up their chisel, they'll set up their mallet, and they will pound on a stone in the exact same spot over and over and over again. And they'll do it 10 times and 20 times, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, it just keeps going and nothing happens. Just pounding at the stone and nothing happens until finally on that 101st or maybe on that 200th swing of the hammer, the stone breaks. Was it that last swing of the hammer that did it, or was it every single swing cumulatively adding up to that end result? I thought it was a pretty good lesson because obviously it's every swing that diligently was given before you could even see the result at all. Couldn't see any progress. And so in another book, Atomic Habits by James Clear, he talks about this concept of a delayed return on the threshold of habits. And so I'll share with you just a little bit of my life, my personal life. Right now I'm training to do a half marathon. And one of my goals is to lose right around 8 pounds by race time because I really feel like I don't want to carry those 8 pounds, 13.1 miles. So in addition to that, I'm doing some running, doing some circuit training. But shoot, like I got injured a couple of weeks ago. My knee's been bothering me like crazy. So I've come up to some adversity. And man, when adversity comes, man, the excuses get really easy to not run, to not go out and do things that you know you're supposed to do, essentially to not pound the stone. Because it's really easy to go out and do things like run when I'm like, oh yeah, my times are getting better. But then when I'm injured and all of a sudden my time isn't as good as it used to be, it can become disheartening. Just not fun at all. So if this sounds like you, please speak up. Like, tell me that I'm not alone, okay? You're not alone either. If you're trying to train for stuff and you get injured and this stuff happens, like you're not alone. It's very easy to feel motivated to work out when you can see the number on the scale going down. But how about when you don't? In that book that I already mentioned, Atomic Habits, James Clear talks about this example. Think of an ice cube in a room that's 25 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, you get the picture? So you turn the thermostat up to 26 degrees. You look at the ice cube, nothing happens. Turn it up to 27 degrees. Look at the ice cube, nothing happens. 28 degrees, 29 degrees, 30 degrees, 31 degrees, nothing happens. So you just get so frustrated that nothing's happened. You've been doing all this work. You've been turning up the temperature. You've been diligent. You've done it every single day for 5 days now. So you give up. You give up at 31 degrees. But what do you and I know? Of course, you and I know that all it takes is one more turn and then it turns up to 32 degrees. You look at the ice cube, boom, it starts to melt. How many of us are stopping what we are doing because we're unable to see the end result yet? When in reality, we just have to wait for that delayed threshold to be crossed to be able to start to see that ice cube melt. Man, that just hit home for me, right? Because when it comes to working out, it's really easy to work out, like I said, when you can see the scale drop in number. But what does that really mean? It's not really sexy to know that your lung capacity is getting greater. You can't really feel that. You can't really feel your anaerobic threshold go up. You can't really feel the visceral fat on the inside going away. You can't feel your decreased risk for diabetes or your decreased risk for cardiovascular disease, or you just can't feel those things, so they're not very motivating. With what I do as a chiropractor, it's not very sexy to see people's nerve health improve. When I look at a scan and I see somebody's musculature get more symmetrical over time, that's amazing. However, it's not very sexy. They'd rather be in pain in the beginning and then feel that pain immediately go away. I get that, right? I totally get that might not be motivating, but what are we going to do? We see people stop pounding the stone all the time because they don't see the results in an immediate way. What kind of person are you? Ask yourself this. What kind of person are you? Are you the kind of person that if you invest money in something, a mutual fund, whatever it might be, are you the kind of person that when you have one bad month and the market takes a downturn, are you withdrawing all of your money? When you know that interest accrues incrementally over years, and you knew that going in, same with losing weight, same thing with chiropractic care, you know that these things are long-term commitments. But then when things take a downward turn, are you the kind of person that just stops at 31 degrees? Are you the kind of person that powers through adversity? You know, you don't give up on relationships just because they become difficult. You know, you don't give up on that person at that point in time. They require work even through those downward turns, even through the injuries, even through all that kind of stuff. So let me ask you this. Are you willing to pound the stone? Are you willing to pound the stone when you can't see any sort of visible results for your health, regardless of whether or not you can see that progress in a long period of time sometimes? Are you willing to do what's right just because you know it's right? Is that enough just to know this is the right thing, so I'm going to do it regardless of whether I see that thing that motivates me, that gives me that surge of dopamine? Am I going to be able to do that in the long term? What kind of person are you? So if you are that kind of person, and you can just give up your outcomes, right? You can give those outcomes up to God and just pay attention to what you're doing. Pay attention to your the things that are in your control as opposed to the outcomes which are not in your control. People love goal setting. They love setting, hey, I want to lose this amount of weight by this amount of time. Goal setting is great, but guess what? I learned about goals recently is that the winning team and the losing team of any game start out with the same exact goal. So it's not goal setting necessarily that gets you there. It's putting in the work when it's dark so that when it's lights and you're under the lights and you're performing, you can do what you wanted to be able to do. So I would encourage you to continue to wake up, continue to work out early, continue to push through adversity, continue to prioritize your adjustments, especially when you're busy, not only when you're not busy. Because guess what? When you're busy and you're stressed and your cortisol hormone is through the roof and you're burning the candle at both ends and your immune system is depressed, that's when you need adjustment the most. That's when you need to pound the stone the most, is when it is the hardest to do so. All right? So hopefully this was encouraging. Hopefully this is a good video. Get out there and pound the stone. Don't stop at 31 degrees. Make sure that you keep on doing it. Don't be discouraged with your chiropractic care, with your adjustments, with your workouts, whatever your goals might be. Just keep on pounding the stone. Do what you know is right, what makes sense, what feels right in your heart and in your gut, and give the outcomes up to God. All right. Have a great day.